So, do you see a risk that already now in the design further the DPP is becoming a bit too complex for the textile sector? And if we look ahead to the Textile Delegated Act expecting around 2027, for example, what should not be included from your point of view in the first version of the Textile DPP?
Right. We have recently some ideas presented by the JRC, the Joint Research Body, assisting the European Commission in making the analysis and consulting stakeholders. So we have seen clearly some policy options, some proposals that regards to information on the robustness of the garments, information on the recyclability of the garments, on the presence of recycled content, and on the footprint, environmental footprint or the carbon footprint of the garments. So these are policy proposals which are already on the table. In a way, they're already more focused and narrow comparing to the whole possible range of informations that the legislation foresees. In the batteries, you will have other information. In steel, which also is going to happen quite soon, we have other informations. Now, we think it's a good thing that we start with a limited range of informations. To give an example, we have seen many private initiatives which are called DPP, although they are private. They mimic the concept of DPP, but they're not the official DPP, as that is still work in progress. We've seen many initiatives which, for instance, elaborate on more than 260 data points, which might be spectacular from an engineer point of view. It might be very much interesting for what a particular brand wish to do to inform its consumers or inform its suppliers. But if you think about mandatory and global, then it's a different story. So we believe that we should go really baby steps. We should go with few information, make sure that information is correct, make sure that the Market Surveillance Authority can check whether that information is correct, and make sure that everybody can provide that information. So baby step, that means let's go slowly, let's see if it works, and then over time we will be able to increase the ambitions of the information. Now, if we go back to the proposals made by the JRC, we think robustness, it's an important point. It's very much associated to the durability of the product, so the quality. We're not so sure that a sort of a scoring system for robustness is the right way to go, but there are information available in the value chain to measure, is this fabric, this product more or less durable than others? This information should be shared with consumer. Recycled content, absolutely. If there will be recycled content in the product as a mandatory requirement, then this also should be an information that the DPP should convey. Footprint, that's an interesting one. It's the third major group. There are different ways of measuring the footprint, environmental footprint of a product. The carbon one is quite simple. Sorry, it's relatively simple because it relates mostly to the energy used in the production. And that's something that already today, it's more or less doable for most players. The environmental footprint is way more elaborated. So potentially, this is something that can give more information to the consumer. At the same time, we have two issues to consider. One, we do not yet have a fully finished, up to the standards methodology to inform consumers on the product environmental footprint. That is something the European Commission is working on. There is a methodology, but it's not sort of tested, it's not proved to the point that it can be used from the extraction of the raw material all the way up to the end of the product. So we see that environmental footprint would be the ideal way once it would be improved, once the fiber neutrality would be considered. So yes, to give information on the footprint, but we need to have the right methodology. Once again, right methodology means that data can be found and fetched in the value chain and can be shared in a seamless way. Last consideration still on the contents. The Digital Product Passport plans to share information on the substance of concern, chemicals. There is also an opportunity to share information, especially towards Market Surveillance Authority, about which chemicals are used in the production process or in the finished product. Let's be mindful, however, that there is a whole set of legislation disciplining how this information should be exchanged, for what type of substances more particular. And we believe that using the DPP to vehicle, especially towards Market Surveillance Authority, information on the so-called substance of very high concern has a meaning. At the same time, you don't necessarily want to make a list of chemicals used and having this list given to consumers. It would be very difficult to manage, and probably will look like, you know, the information you have in some drugs packages that no one is actually able to understand. So these are some considerations we already have based on the option placed on the table on the specific product features and on the chemicals.